Hello everybody, Erica Serwin here from Pink Buckaroo Designs. Are you ready for Christmas? It's middle of October right now while I'm making this video, and I think I'm finally ready to think about Christmas. This cute little card features a great bundle from the holiday catalog from Stampin' Up. It's called Alpine Adventure, and even though I'm a South Texas girl and my kids never have seen snow, I still love this set. It's fun, it's got great framelits and images that are just perfect for the winter. So I've decided to make a cute Christmas card using it, as well as the buffalo check background stamp. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I can't get enough of that beautiful buffalo background check. But what we're going to do actually is create a plaid using it. Can you see those additional lines in there? The way you do that is simply with a ruler and a marker. And before we get started, I want to show you another one that I did. Here's another one. This is fall. I actually Googled fall scarves and I found this plaid. The scarf was beautiful, but it had a yellow stripe and a brown stripe. So I took my soft suede and my mango melody and just added stripes in there. So your buffalo check really doesn't have to be limited to one color. You can add lots of different colors to it to make a fun plaid. All right, we're going to start first by making that plaid, and we're actually going to cut the piece that we make in half and use it on another project. Now this is the Stamparatus, and the Stamparatus is Stampin' Up's new stamp positioning tool, and it's great for these big background stamps because background stamps need a lot of pressure all over them, and sometimes you don't get it stamped perfectly the first time, so you actually have to stamp it again, and the Stamparatus will hold this paper in place for me so that I can do that. Now I've already got it on one of my plate, so I'm just going to see where I want my paper. This is just a half sheet of Whisper White cardstock. I've made it bigger. That way I can attach one of my magnets down here at the bottom and it'll stay right where it needs to be. One tip I have for you, and really this is the biggest tip with the buffalo background stamp, is that you really need to make sure that your ink pad is inked well. A dry ink pad is going to get you a image that is not very solid. I've had that question quite a bit. So make sure that your stamp pad is nice and solid. Now also, you need to stand up. Just doing this with your fingers is not enough, you guys. You need to stand up and put your weight on it and use the palm of your hand to really press it. Now, when you lift it up, that looks beautiful, but you can see right here, we've got a little bit of kind of splotchiness, right? So I'm just going to ink it again, not quite as much as I did last time, and press it down again. And this time, it is beautiful. You can see those are still splotchy, so you can put that back down and press real nice and make sure that they fill in good enough for you. All right, so let's take this off. Now be careful because it's still pretty inky. I like to set it on a different counter so that I don't get ink all over me. All right, you're just gonna need a ruler, you guys. Decide what color you want to add to it. You can use your Stampin' Write markers, but I've also just been using my Stampin' Blends. I love my Stampin' Blends and use them any chance that I can get. Now, take your ruler and just kind of center it in those white spaces and go across and draw a line. And I kind of like to go backwards and forwards just to get that line extra dark. Backwards and forwards. Now, I was thinking of other Christmas combinations. You could use black. Of course, you could use any of the greens. You could even go back with another real red marker just to kind of make it more of a plaid than just a big check. All right, so we've done that. And notice I've gone off the edges here. That's okay. We're going to actually cut it down to two different pieces in a minute. We're going to make it go along that edge. I kind of like going off the edge because it gives me, you know, I'm not worried about stopping and leaving a little splotchy part of the ink there, kind of like that. So that way I can, you know, really make sure that I have those nice straight lines. All right, so here we go. Now, if you are interested in seeing other options of this. Look around on Pinterest and Google. You'll see lots of people have done this technique. All right, pull in your paper trimmer and just trim it to the edge of your stamp. Maybe just a little bit more in so that you can cut off all those rough edges. And I'm going to go around here. Looks like my paper is a little bit crooked when I stamped, but that's okay. Whoops, let's go in a little bit further on that one. This is the Stampin' paper trimmer, the Stampin' trimmer, and you can see that it cuts, but it also scores. It has the scoring blade up here, and I've labeled mine because sometimes I accidentally cut instead of score, and that's not good. My mind is thinking of other things, and I grab that score tool and have to start all over. All right, there we've trimmed it. Now, let's see, it's about 4.5 by 5.5. So I'm gonna cut it in half here. And in fact, let's trim this edge just a little bit. Let's make it right at 4 1/4. So we have an even measurement. Now, 5.5, half of 5.5 is 2 3/4. So cut that right in half. Now we're gonna just use one of these today. I'm gonna make another video after this one showing you how to use the second piece. This is actually a project done during my Facebook Live on Friday, October 12th. And on my blog, you'll find the PDF for both of these projects as well as an additional one. You can hop over to my blog. There will be a link in the description here on YouTube. So make sure to follow it back and you can get that PDF. It'll be under the very last photo on the post. All right, now this is a real red card base. I took a piece of cardstock and cut it in half on the long side at 5.5, and I've folded it in half. And I've cut a piece of Whisper White that is 4 1/4 by, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we're actually going to emboss this with a beautiful new embossing folder, the corrugated embossing folder. I love corrugated paper, and many years ago Stampin' Up! Carried corrugated paper, and I was super sad to see it retire. But with a corrugated embossing folder, now I can make any cardstock, any paper corrugated. So I have been using this a ton. Now, when you use your corrugated embossing folder, it is one of our thicker embossing folders. So if you have the old platform, open it all the way up to the last tab. And if you have the new platform, just leave it as is. You can't use your magnetic platform on this, and you're only going to need one clear plate. I recommend that you put this folder in with the lines going this way. The reason is when you put your lines going in sideways, it applies a lot of pressure to those lines for a long time as it goes through, and the paper tends to tear easier that way. I have found that if I put my paper going in this way, the pressure on each line is just for a couple of seconds, and that way it's not so strong that it tears the paper. So I'm just going to run it through, and you will see just how beautiful that corrugated paper is. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, while we have the big shot here, let's cut our little sleigh or sled. Forgive me if I use the wrong terms, you guys. I'm from Texas, and I can tell you I've never been on a sleigh or a sled, but I love it, and I think using it for Christmas decorations is fun. So here's this one, and I'm using the Wood Grain Designer Series paper, and that makes a really fun sled because it looks real. All right, let's see. There it is. It just fell right out. Beautiful. And we can get all those little pieces out easily. Now we're actually going to need this big shot in a second, but I'm going to move it out of the way because we need to stamp the little wreath. If you look at the stamp set, we've got these two right here, and they are the wreaths. And you'll notice here on the plastic sheet, there's a little arrow there and there. And the stamps actually have those little arrows as well. You can see them right there and right there. And that's going to help you line up your stamps easily. Now we're going to use shaded spruce for the greenery. All right, so see how I did that with the arrow at the top. So this time I'm going to make sure that I stamp these, the little berries, with the arrow at the top as well. And make sure you just tap lightly on this one so you don't get a lot of ink everywhere. All right, and we're going to fit those berries in between each of the leaves. Perfect. Okay, let's move all our ink out of the way, bring the Big Shot back over, get all of our sled doodads out of the way, and grab the wreath frame. All right, we've got our pieces. It's time to start putting our card together. I am going to use my fast fuse to put my card together. If you don't have fast fuse, you can also use snail. So here's our plaid piece, and I am adhering it to a piece of soft suede cardstock just to kind of mat it. And I'm going to put adhesive on the back of my corrugated white piece, and I want to encourage you to be generous with your adhesive on those corrugated pieces. I'm finding you really have to add quite a bit of adhesive because remember, half of the cardstock is up and the other half is down, so you want to make sure that it sticks and doesn't fall off. All right, now let's grab dimensionals for this piece, and add these here like that. All right, now for our little sled, I'm going to use mini dimensionals because the pieces are quite narrow. So grab your minis. This is a set of mini dimensionals I got in a paper pumpkin kit, and I didn't quite use all of them, but you can order these in full sheets from the catalog. And I'm going to have it kind of leaning over. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my wreath. And I'm going to put some dimensionals, mini dimensionals right there, and put it like it's hanging. Uh-oh, we've got a little bit sticking out. Let's see if I can move that down a bit. There we go. And put that right up there. Now, linen thread. I love linen thread. It's rustic and it goes well with the little theme of our kind of our woodsy Christmas card. And I'm just going to tie a bow, leaving the little legs a little bit long. You could leave them really long if you wanted, because you've got enough space here on the card to do that. And I'm going to put it right there. Now, let's grab, we have one more piece left, 2 3/4 by 3/4, and we're going to stamp the sentiment. And it says, Christmas greetings. All right, and I'm going to stamp it right there in the middle. Then I'm going to grab my scissors. I had a punch here and it's gone, so we'll just do the scissors. If you don't have your banner punch, you can simply do it with your scissors by cutting halfway up and then cutting at an angle from each of your little points. And I'm going to do it on both sides because you'll see it actually slides under this wreath really well when it's cut in a V like that. All right, one more dimensional here, and I'm going to slide it kind of right behind my wreath. Well, we've got a dimensional in the way. Let's see if we can. There we go. How about that? All right, and there you have it. Wouldn't these make really fun Christmas cards? I know I would love to send these out to all of my friends up north, and they would think, hey, look, she knows what those winter toys are. All right, you guys, I hope you like it. Let me know if you have any questions about these products. Hop back over to my blog to grab that PDF with the measurements and the product list in case you want to make it yourself. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.